It's a weird time for the console space.
With the PS5 Pro, Switch 2, and rumors of a new Xbox model swirling, the state of console gaming is changing.
Spot on, at home edition, because we're getting a new studio.
New studio is being built edition.
We're getting new consoles, allegedly, Tam. It's like we're getting the mid-season refresh with the PS5 Pro. There were those rumors of an Xbox. I don't know, there's always rumors about the new Xbox, like handheld maybe the next more powerful box with a dedicated AI thing. And but we are actually getting the Switch 2. We saw some leaks from that this week. Feels like just yesterday we were getting PS5 and Xbox Series, but honestly at this point the Switch is the Harrison Ford of game consoles. Like in its 80s, just let the man retire.
It's being wheeled out every few months to be like, he's back. Han Solo is still alive.
Somehow still managing to do stunts, i.e. run Tears of the Kingdom, and yet, I don't know. It's time for the new one. Let's start with the Switch 2. We're assuming the official announcement is going to be very soon, given the fact that there are rumors of them shooting the commercial. There are those leaked alleged renders from social networking sites. Do you think it is actually going to look as much like the original Switch as those renders are claiming?
I think so. They usually significantly revise the hardware on a generational basis, and it's usually quite significantly and noticeably different from what came before. But I think this might be the first instance of Nintendo doing more of a kind of iterative upgrade that is being presented as a new generation of their hardware. The renders that we saw are pretty unexciting in a lot of ways, but it also makes so much sense for it to look exactly like that.
Yeah, I think I'm at the point where I'm fine with a more powerful Switch. I'm really interested to see what the kind of gimmick is though. Like I feel like I have a Switch OLED that can probably carry me forward a good few years, but if there is something with the Switch 2 that is gimmicky, and I say gimmicky with positive connotations, like what's the magic that Nintendo's putting into it to entice me?
That's the thing. I don't think it's going to have any gimmicks. I think if I had to put money on it right now, the smart bet would be to just a Switch but way more powerful. The landscape of consoles hasn't changed significantly enough for them to really reassess how people play games, why people play games, and that's usually what spurs them on to create these console revisions, right? Like the Wii was this thing that they had a vision for gaming opening up to more people, and it becoming so affordable that your grandparents can have it and that kind of stuff, and then missed a step with the whole like tablet based thing, but then came back to it in a way with the Switch, and they've had to do that to distinguish themselves from the competitors, but the competitors aren't changing at all, like or ostensibly aren't changing at all. So why would Nintendo reinvent itself and potentially take a risk on some new gimmick that could fall flat on its face, when the status quo means that it's already has its own unique selling point?
I mean, I guess the only thing that's really different to the state of consoles when the Switch was launching back in 2017 is the fact that now the Steam Deck exists, the ROG Ally exists. And so do you think that's where Nintendo's seeing competition? If Nintendo even sees competition at all?
I think that's probably where Nintendo is seeing competition. But again, to meet that competition or just become competitive in any meaningful way, it doesn't need to drastically change what the Switch is. It just needs to beef up what it's capable of. I don't think they'll push it to what we enjoy now, which is basically portable PCs. I don't think they have intent to push that far because, again, Nintendo likes to work with more dated hardware and technology and then push that or like mess with that slightly and figure out the new system for themselves. So I think what we're most likely to get is, or the way they're most likely to compete is still just beefing up that console and making it more powerful so that third-party games can run on it a bit better. And I feel like if their architecture is closer to something like a PC with more beefier power, then it behooves developers to also publish more on Nintendo platforms, which from a business perspective is technically low investment, low risk, and high reward potential. So that is definitely Nintendo is now competing more with the Steam Decks and the ROG Allies and the other Aya Neos than they are with PlayStation 5/6 or Xbox Series X/S, whatever the next thing is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned investment there. Let's talk about the PS5 Pro. Yeah, we didn't really do an episode last week, but obviously that's $700 price tag. It's over 1,000 Australian dollars. Like in the UK, it's like 800, 900 quid. It's rough.
It's like PlayStation 3 early days again, where people are like, how many jobs should I get to get this thing?
And of course, this because the disc drive and the stand is also both sold separately, they both immediately were snapped up. That's the thing, where no one's forcing you to get a PS5 Pro. If you can afford a PS5 Pro and you want one, it's your money, your life, go get it. I think what is really concerning a lot of people is that, like, is this the upward trend of, is this how much we can just expect to pay for a console now? Because people will pay it, PlayStation, Xbox, whoever will see that there's a market for it.
And I feel like when the PlayStation 6 comes out, it will be much closer to $1,000 than we would like it to be. But I think, sadly, we live in an era where Apple is one of the most successful companies in the world, and they can sell you a device yearly almost that costs $1,000, and people are doing it in their droves. So I feel like Sony and PlayStation especially are a little more comfortable with moving there. And then, there's obviously the questions around utility. A gaming console is only a gaming console, where $1,000 Apple device is your everything device. But when it comes down to it, people will pay that money. A significant portion of people will pay that money. So I expect there will be at least one PlayStation SKU that comes in the 900s, which is rough for a lot of people. People aren't as eager to move on to new consoles as they used to be. So it's a sticky space to be in for Sony. But for now, we know they want to sell that PS5 Pro for $700. They didn't do the best job of showing off why. Thankfully, they have Digital Foundry picking up the legwork and putting out that Final Fantasy video, which is like showing just how powerful that thing is.
And it was very strange of them to announce that console without a new first-party title that could be taking advantage of all the extra power. So
yeah, everything about it screams you don't have to do this. And at that price point, I think people will seriously go, I don't have to do this.
No. And then when it comes to Xbox is also, I think Sarah Bond mentioned at some point, I think, was it the one back during February where she said, like, oh yeah, there is going to be new Xbox hardware, blah, blah, blah. There was the leaked stuff.
Xbox is really, I think they have the most to gain. I feel like they're in a position, they have very quietly become the Nintendo of the gaming industry in a weird way, where they have the most to gain from doing something wild and wacky right now. I don't think they will. Of everyone, they could be the ones that transition the Xbox brand into something completely unexpected, like, tablet devices. Imagine if they went really hard on a Steam Deck-like thing and had some sort of
streaming.
Streaming 100%. Like, it feels like they could do something to make their video game hardware ecosystem a little better to couch Game Pass in. And that portability could be huge for them. The next generation of Xbox is going to be really interesting. I personally think that's where the USB thing that plugs into your TV that was rumored for a really long time could make its return. But I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft looks at the success of the Steam Deck and the ROGs and is like, maybe we should try one of those and have some sort of home component to it.
Yeah, I think this year has been very interesting for Xbox. I think it has been very messy in terms of messaging. I think this has really been the pivot year for Xbox, obviously moving into publishing Xbox Studios games across PlayStation and other platforms. Today, we're recording on Thursday, they just announced they're sunsetting things like the Ambassador program, which has been running for almost 15 years. and on top of other things that they have been announcing, and like they had a really strong Summer Game Fest presentation with games and stuff. It's really interesting to watch them maneuver this. Obviously, a lot of people had to lose their jobs for them.
Yeah, it's really hard for that platform right now to build momentum. I think that could change with Indiana Jones, but the question is like, are they in a position right now to, if the momentum does start to shift, to capitalize on it? It's very unclear, and I think you could say the same for PlayStation as well, and to a degree Nintendo as well. Like, video game consoles are in a very weird space right now.
Yep. Well, let us know what you think in the comments below. We'll be back again in a couple of weeks because we're both on vacation next week. But let us know what you think about the new consoles. Are you going to be buying a PS5 Pro, or are you holding out a little bit longer with your regular PS5? Or what do you think the Switch 2 is going to have? Let us know. You can find me on Twitter at LucyJamesGames.
I'm at More Hitch.
We'll see you next time.